The concept of the Faustian bargain is a concept that is synonymous with many eras and peoples in the span of humanity. It's the classical idea of dealing with the devil, where a seemingly simple choice is presented to you. Gain the fruits of unlimited power and all that you desire for the simple essence of your very soul. The character Raphael from Baldur's Gate 3 is very much reflective of this age-old idea, but Raphael seemingly practices the exact same tricks as any other devil, but he wraps it in a shroud of mystery and intrigue, a veil created by the deception, cunningness, and shocking calmness that he possesses. Raphael is level-headed and calculated. He may seem off-putting from the very moment you meet him, and you may not know it for a while, but he is always watching you. From the moment you infiltrate the goblin camp to the very moment you enter the large escapade that is the city of Baldur's Gate, Raphael's watchful eye is observing. Raphael is the result of a devil who is so charming, eloquent, and persuasive in nature, and he is brought to life exquisitely by the incredible voice acting of Andrew Wincott. It's not easy to play a devil with all the charm and charisma you could dream of, but the wonderful work of Andrew Wincott brings this whimsical character to life and more. Raphael may not always be at the forefront of your journey in Baldur's Gate 3, especially in the first 2 acts of the game, but you know as well as I that he's always watching you with great interest. Raphael is a deep, multi-layered character whose charisma makes you think twice before rejecting or accepting his offers, and he is honestly the most memorable villain in the entire game. But to really create a discussion about Raphael, we've got to discuss who he is. I think the best way to talk about this is simply talking about the scene in which he introduces himself. While you're dawdling around the gigantic groves and landscapes of Act 1 in Baldur's Gate 3, a figure will shapeshift himself into reality, walking with an elegant stride towards you.
My, what manner of place is this?
From the very onset of your interaction, he stirs an uncertainty from you. What could this random individual who appeared from thin air want from me, a simple adventurer looking for a cure? You don't suspect that he's a devil. It's not like he appeared with the blazes of hell behind him. He just looks like any other nobleman you may see on the road. But you feel like something is off. He feels too perfect, and his confidence is one that is absolute. Raphael again doesn't preach the same tried out tricks of his peers. He doesn't threaten you outright, but instead invites you to a seemingly normal conversation. He selects his words carefully. He starts with a poem and goes on a tangent that is supposedly irrelevant to anything you're currently striving for. But he calls himself a friend of yours, and he offers you shelter and a fireplace to sit at, which in the current moment you're in seems like a great offer. You've been rolling around in the dirt looking for a cure to an uncurable disease, and now some nobleman offers you a sense of salvation for at least a moment. Raphael isn't like other villains. He doesn't try to intimidate you into submitting, but he outright manipulates and seduces you. His own metaphor of the cat and the mouse reflects how he greets you with a sense of amusement, while studying you like a cat does a mouse. He brings up the parasite in your head and the fate that awaits you if you don't get help, but you still don't know where you'll even get this help from. He offers you the cure almost immediately. He will give you salvation because he has the power and knowledge to do things you don't understand. He's not quick to establish himself as a villain in the story, but rather an ally, even if that ally is unpredictable and offsetting. He takes control of the situation you're in from the very start. Like the concept of the Faustian bargain, at their very core, a powerless person is the one that makes the deals. If the theatrics of his introduction weren't enough at this point, his sudden teleportation of you and your companions to a decorated palace with a lavish table set for dinner is even more mind-boggling. He's quick to drop the act of his nobleman persona though, as he reveals his true form as a cambion, a devil of the 9 hells. It starts to make a little more sense, the way he plays on his words, the theatrics of his offers, but he still doesn't force you upon anything or threaten you. He again simply offers you a solution for the problem in your head, and you do anything to fix it. His performance in the introductory cutscene for his character is one of my favorite cutscenes in the entire game. Raphael is so calculated and cunning, and the theatrical nature of his behavior immediately made him a character I knew I would keep my eye on for the rest of the game. Raphael is how you introduce a villain. He may be a devil, but he's offering you solutions that no one else can give you in this world, and he doesn't seem so evil at the forefront. Raphael isn't really present for a long while after his incredible introduction scene. For the rest of your time in Act 1, he doesn't reveal himself to you again, and even in Act 2, his moments are nothing that notable to the overall story. But then again, you question what his motives are when you do see him again. Why does he offer to decipher the words on Astarion's back? Why is he playing a competitive game of chess with a tiefling child? And why does he want you, someone who is focused on finding the Night Song, to kill a peer of his, when he obviously has the power to do it himself? himself. Just like when you first met him, Raphael's seemingly open nature of answering the problem in your head just turns into more and more questions about him. What does he want? Raphael's deceptive nature makes him seem like he's only watching you for the purpose of supporting you, or at the very least keeping you safe. But you start wondering why you have so much interest to him, especially when he seemingly has all the power and knowledge himself to do anything that he desires. Before I discuss his major role in Act 3 of the game, and specifically the incredible boss fight and nature of the House of Hope itself, I want to go into a bit more discussion about the incredible voice acting and performance of Andrew Wincott. Everything that I've said about Raphael thus far paints a picture of a character that is truly three-dimensional in his writing and stage play, but it's only because of the performance of his actor that Raphael is as intriguing and cunning as he appears in the game. The delivery of every line, the way Raphael just speaks so smoothly without a stutter, without a hesitation in his words, this can all be rooted to the voice acting that truly brings the script to life for Raphael. His voice is sinister and he doesn't speak plainly, but rather his answers to your questions are in the form of riddles and loops of words that don't seem to make very much sense. What he says and what he actually wants from you are two different things, and you find it hard to decipher what Raphael is really about in the game. Arguably, the voice of Raphael by itself makes every single scene that he appears in some of the most compelling moments in the entire game, and I'm talking about across all three acts of the game, all companion cutscenes and everything else the game has to offer in terms of writing. I don't think it's really a surprise that Andrew Wincott won a BAFTA for his incredible performance in bringing Raphael to life, and it goes to show that truly at the heart of any good script coming to life is the people behind the voices and acting of it all. Interviews with Raphael's voice actor provide even more insight into how this devilish, cunning and sinister villain was manifested into the game, and I'll link all of those interviews in the description if you are interested in learning more about the character's creation. With that out of the way, I think it's time we talk about Raphael in Act 3. After killing Ketheric Thorm at the end of Act 2 and entering the city of Baldur's Gate, you haven't seen Raphael in a while. When looking for Kithrak Voss, the last thing I expected was to see Raphael again. Just like how he offered you a way of salvation for the parasite in your head, Kithrak Voss begs for Raphael's assistance in the same way in order to destroy the mantles of tyranny of Vlaakith. But strangely enough, Raphael isn't really interested in what seems like the most devilish of plots. He doesn't really care about overthrowing an immortal queen. He doesn't seem to see any value in Voss and the Githyanki like he does to you. Then, when he sees you again, the proposition of the Githyanki is only salved by the fact that Raphael believes you can bring some value to the table. He again offers you a seemingly illustrious deal. At this point, you know a little bit more about what he's trying to scheme. You may not know the specifics of it, but slowly, more of the devilish nature that he is rooted in begins to sprout across the entire field of his character arc. I think it's fair to say that at this point, even if players were swayed towards his side at the beginning of your interaction with him, the connection that you've built with your companions and what you've learned of Faerun on your journey makes you hesitant to even consider his proposal as an option at all. Most players would reject his proposal, but he never closes it or exerts an extreme sense of anger expected from a devil. He just wants the crown of Karsus, and he will take that wretched parasite from your head. He seems like there's nothing to lose on the part of your character, but it's again this uneasiness that you can feel from the character of Raphael that makes you reject his proposal again. He doesn't intimidate or threaten you to accept the deal, but he hopes that the level-headed behavior he displays will be enough for you to see his reason, to see his vision for the world that he believes he can fix, while fixing your parasite problem at the same time. Once you reject him, you find yourself looking for a way into his mysterious House of Hope. You may have seen one single room of this House of Hope at the very start of the game, when he presents you with a luscious dinner on a lavish table, but you don't know what it really holds. Entering the House of Hope is fairly simple, much simpler than what you'd expect when it comes to entering the house of a powerful devil in the Nine Hells. From the onset of your entry into the House of Hope, the theme that plays continuously instills a sense of uneasiness about every step you take in this place. You feel like you should get out, but you've come here for the Orphic Hammer, and you'll not leave until you get it. Walking around the House of Hope is honestly quite eerie. You walk past the lavish table you saw at the start of the game, but with the added context of Raphael's nature, the way in which he talks and what he offers. Like any other devil, you see lost souls venturing around his ironically named House of Hope, and you feel that Raphael is in fact no different to any other devil you know. He may speak in rhymes and act in a way that makes him seem an ally, but a devil could never be an ally. They're always hiding something living behind the exterior of their facade. Raphael is the exact same. He hides the souls crying out for help from the torment he provides them. He locks up artifacts of great power that could help others, such as the Githyanki, simply for his own selfish wants and needs, and he keeps his house as tidy as possible. Stealing the Orphic hammer was quite easy, and it makes you think why this entire objective itself was so easy. They've told you that Raphael is coming, and he's coming with the goal to bring down the hammer of judgment, but you don't think he'll actually do it. Raphael's confrontation in the House of Hope is one of my favorite dialogue exchanges in the entire game, as he reveals everything that you knew to be true in some way from the very moment he reveals himself to you in Act 1. He hates the beauty, the people, the land of Faerun. He hates the disorder and the way in which people care for each other. He's really like any other devil. His transformation into a Cambion is much more terrifying this time around, because this time his true colors have been revealed, and is here to crush you with no more salvation offered on a platter for you to consume. This boss fight is one of the most creative in the entire game, and honestly I enjoyed this fight a lot more than I did the final boss fight against the Elder Brain. Raphael singing his own theme song in the style of an old Disney villain is so right for his character. It just feels right that someone as selfish, evil and cunning as him would not stoop to letting a simple boss theme play for him, but rather the already eerie theme of his House of Hope is just the background theme for his own song, his own chorus singing about the demise of you and your companions. The way in which he flaunts his true form in battle is honestly terrifying, and it is made even more apparent in how he continues to empower himself from the very beginning of the fight by consuming without any hesitation the souls begging for help that he finds across his House of Hope. Taking down these soul pillars while trying to balance fighting off his legion of Cambions, and Raphael himself creates a challenging and enjoyable boss fight that is really the most memorable in the entire game. His personality really bleeds into the way he fights, the way his entire boss fight is just another display of theatrics. For Raphael, this confrontation is nothing more than an enjoyable performance for him to act out, and he loves every moment he's able to slowly thrash away at your soul and make you pay for bringing this disorder of the world into the tidy and calculated nature of his House of Hope. Every element of this boss fight was designed to such a perfect detail, and there's really nothing that I would change in this boss fight, as the perfect representation of who Raphael is as a character in an incredible fight against him. When Raphael falls, this is when you completely understand who he really was. He was simply a devil like any other, but the tricks he used to manipulate you, to make you think even for a moment that he was on your side, makes him the most memorable villain and simply character in this entire gargantuan game. There's many villains throughout Baldur's Gate 3, and they all have fantastic writing attached to them, with performances great like Raphael's, specifically in the Chosen of the Dead Gods, in Ketheric, Gortash, and especially Orin. But once I put down the game and thought about the fantastic world building, writing, and characters of Baldur's Gate 3, it seemed obvious to me that the best villain in the game was not any of the aforementioned 3 Chosen, or even the Elder Brain itself. Rather, the best villain in the game was Raphael, due to how multi-layered and well written he is, and honestly I can't think of any other better character in the entire game. That's pretty much everything I wanted to delve into for today's video. This video was a really fun one to make, and depending on the reception to this video, I'd like to make more videos analyzing specific characters from the large world of Baldur's Gate 3. And honestly, I wouldn't mind covering anyone else or any other topic. Raphael is one of the most multifaceted characters in this entire game, and remembering how amazing he was simply as a performance and as a devil in the world of Faerun made the process of writing this video a really enjoyable one. If there's any other topic or character you'd like me to cover in depth like I've done here with Raphael, please let me know down below in the comments. I really don't mind covering any characters from the companions to other villains to even just covering side quests or main quests in the game. So feel free to drop a comment about anything at all. As for the next video, it will probably be a discussion about what is the best act in Baldur's Gate 3. So if you're interested in that, please consider sticking around. Anyway, that's all from me for today's video. If you enjoyed, please consider subbing to the channel for more Baldur's Gate 3 and RPG content, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.